The will reading happened on a gray Tuesday morning in my grandmother's estate attorney's office. I sat between the empty chairs where my parents should have been, facing Mr. Henderson across his massive oak desk. My sister Victoria sat on the opposite side of the room, her husband beside her, both of them dressed like they were attending a celebration rather than a funeral. My grandmother had died 3 weeks earlier at 87, sharp-minded until the end. She'd raised me more than my own parents had, letting me live with her through high school and college when my mother made it clear that Victoria was the favored child and I was the inconvenient second daughter who asked too many questions. The estate is valued at approximately $12 million, Mr. Henderson said, adjusting his reading glasses. It's comprised of the family home in Pasadena, a 4-unit apartment building in Silver Lake, a commercial property in downtown Los Angeles, and various investment accounts. Victoria leaned forward, practically vibrating with anticipation. Mrs. Eleanor Morrison has left the entirety of her estate to her granddaughter Rebecca Morrison, with one exception. Mr. Henderson looked at Victoria. You are to receive a one-time payment of $50,000 and the contents of your grandmother's jewelry box, excluding the diamond engagement ring, which goes to Rebecca. The silence that followed was deafening. That's impossible, Victoria said, her voice tight. There must be a mistake. I'm the oldest. I'm the one who visited her every week. You visited once a month, I said quietly, and usually asked for money. You poisoned her against me, Victoria hissed. You manipulated a sick old woman. Your grandmother was in perfect mental health when she executed this will 18 months ago, Mr. Henderson said firmly. She was evaluated by 2 independent physicians who confirmed her capacity. The will is ironclad. Victoria stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. This isn't over. We'll contest it. We'll prove she was manipulated. You're welcome to try, Mr. Henderson said. But I should inform you that your grandmother anticipated this reaction. She left a letter explaining her decision, which I'm authorized to share with the family if the will is contested. Victoria's face went pale. She grabbed her purse and stormed out, her husband trailing behind her. I sat there feeling numb. $12 million. 4 properties. My grandmother had been wealthy, but I'd never quite grasped the scope of it. Why did she leave it all to me? I asked. Mr. Henderson pulled out a sealed envelope. She asked me to give you this after the reading. I opened it there in his office. My grandmother's handwriting was elegant and precise. Rebecca, you're reading this because you're wondering why I chose you. The answer is simple. You never asked me for anything. You worked 3 jobs to pay for college even though I offered to help. You visited because you wanted to see me, not because you wanted something from me. Your sister has been asking for money since she was 25. I've given her over $200,000 over the years, and she's never once paid back a penny or said thank you. The apartment building includes a 4-bedroom unit where Victoria and her family currently live. I've been charging her half the market rent for 6 years. The lease is in her name, month to month, and expires with my estate. As the new owner, you'll need to decide what to do about that arrangement. I trust your judgment. Love always, Grandma Eleanor. I stared at the letter. Victoria lived in a property I now owned. She'd been paying $1,200 a month for a place that should rent for $2,500, and she had no idea. The next 3 weeks were consumed with estate paperwork, property transfers, and meetings with accountants. I took a leave of absence from my job as a middle school teacher, overwhelmed by the sudden complexity of my life. I still lived in my small apartment in Burbank, still drove my 10-year-old Toyota, and still hadn't quite processed what this inheritance meant. I'd been staying in my grandmother's house, sorting through her belongings, when Victoria showed up unannounced one evening. My mother was with her. We need to talk about the will, Mom said, walking past me into the house like she owned it. I'd barely spoken to my mother since the reading. She'd called once, asking if I planned to share the inheritance with Victoria. When I said the will was clear, she hung up on me. There's nothing to talk about, I said. Grandma made her wishes clear. She was confused, Victoria said. Old people get confused. They forget who's been there for them. She wasn't confused. She was evaluated by doctors. Then you manipulated her, Mom said flatly. You always were sneaky, always playing the victim, making everyone feel sorry for you. I took a breath, choosing my words carefully. I'm not having this conversation. The estate is settled. I'm asking you both to leave. This is still our mother's house, Mom said. You can't kick us out. Actually, it's my house now, and yes, I can. Victoria's face contorted with rage. You don't deserve any of this. You were nothing to her. Just a charity case she took in because your own mother couldn't stand you. The words should have hurt. They didn't. I'd heard variations of them my entire childhood. Please leave, I said quietly. They left, but not before Victoria made a show of slamming doors and promising that I'd regret this. Mom said nothing to me, just followed her favorite daughter out to the car. I went to bed early that night, exhausted from the emotional confrontation. I woke at 2 in the morning to the smell of smoke. The fire department arrived within minutes, but by then my childhood bedroom was destroyed. The room where I'd lived from age 14 to 22, where I'd studied for college entrance exams and dreamed about escaping my family's dysfunction. Gone. Charred walls, melted belongings, the carpet reduced to toxic ash. The fire marshal said it started near the closet. Accelerant detected. Arson, no question. The security cameras my grandmother had installed captured Victoria's car in the driveway at 1:30 in the morning. They captured a figure in dark clothing entering through the back door, and that same figure leaving 12 minutes later. I gave the footage to the police. It brought Victoria in for questioning. She claimed she'd come by to get some of her grandmother's jewelry that was rightfully hers. Said she'd lit a candle to say a prayer and must have forgotten to blow it out. Accident. Terrible accident. The detective showed me the accelerant evidence. Showed me the pour pattern. This was no accident. This was deliberate destruction. Do you want to press charges? She asked. I thought about it. Criminal charges meant trials, media attention, family warfare played out in public. It meant my mother would have to testify, would have to choose between her daughters in open court. She'd choose Victoria. She always chose Victoria. Not yet, I said. Let me think about it. The detective looked disappointed but handed me her card. Call me when you're ready. My mother came by the next day while I was meeting with a restoration company. She surveyed the damage with a careful expression. Accidents happen, she said with a shrug. Old houses, electrical problems. These things can't be predicted. It wasn't an accident, I said. The fire marshal confirmed arson. Victoria was here at 1:30 in the morning. It's on camera. You can't prove anything, Mom said. Victoria wouldn't do something like that. She's your sister. She burned down my room because she's angry about the will. If you weren't so greedy, if you'd shared like family should, none of this would have happened. You brought this on yourself. She left before I could respond. I stood in the ruins of my childhood bedroom and said nothing. Nothing to my mother, nothing to Victoria when she called later with a fake apology, nothing to the extended family members who started calling, asking questions, taking sides. I just made notes, documented everything. And I called my new attorney, a sharp woman named Patricia who specialized in estate and property law. I need to understand my rights regarding the apartment building, I said. Specifically the unit my sister occupies. Patricia reviewed the lease agreement. It's month to month, currently at $1,200 per month. Market rate for this unit would be $2,400 to $2,600 a month. You have the right to raise the rent to market rate with 30 days written notice. Or you can choose not to renew the lease with 60 days notice. What would you recommend? That depends on whether you want to maintain a relationship with your sister. I thought about my burned bedroom, about my mother shrugging off arson as an accident, about Victoria's entitled rage that I'd received what our grandmother chose to leave me. I want her out, I said. Legally, properly, but out. Patricia drafted the notice. 60 days to vacate, delivered by certified mail, and a process server to ensure proper legal notice. The lease would not be renewed. The property was being reclaimed by the owner for personal use. Victoria's call came 30 minutes after she received the notice. You can't do this, she screamed. Where are we supposed to go? We have 3 kids. You can't make your nieces and nephews homeless. You have 60 days to find new housing, I said calmly. That's more than the legal requirement. This is because of the fire, isn't it? I told you that was an accident. This is because the lease is month to month and I'm choosing not to renew it. That's my right as the property owner. Family first, she said, her voice breaking with what might have been real tears or excellent acting. That's what Grandma always said. Family takes care of family. You're right, I said. Grandma did always say that. She took care of me when Mom made it clear I wasn't wanted. She left me her estate because I never treated her like a bank account. And now I'm taking care of her property the way she would have wanted. By not letting someone who committed arson against me live in it rent-free. I didn't commit arson. That's a lie. I have security camera footage, Victoria. I have the fire marshal's report. I chose not to press criminal charges, but that doesn't mean I'm going to let you keep living in my property at below market rent. Mom said you'd do this. She said you'd use the money to hurt us. I'm not hurting you. I'm enforcing the legal lease termination. You have 60 days. I suggest you use them to find a new place. She hung up. Mom called 10 minutes later. You're destroying this family, she said without preamble. Victoria destroyed my bedroom. You called it an accident. So you're going to make her homeless? Make your own nieces homeless? I'm giving her 60 days notice. She can find another apartment. She has a job. Her husband has a job. They can afford market rate rent somewhere else. She's been living there for 6 years. You can't just throw her out. Actually, as the property owner, I can. The lease is month to month. I'm not renewing it. That's completely legal. This is about money, Mom said. You got all of it, and now you want to make Victoria suffer. This is about Victoria burning down my room, and you pretending it was an accident. This is about 28 years of being the daughter you didn't want while Victoria got everything she asked for. This is about Grandma seeing all of that and making a choice about who deserved her legacy. You've changed, Mom said. Money changed you. No, I said. I just stopped accepting being treated like I don't matter. The 60 days passed slowly. Victoria tried everything. She showed up at the house crying. She brought the kids to try to guilt me. She had Mom call repeatedly. She posted on social media about cruel family members who valued money over blood. She even showed up at my school, causing a scene in the parking lot that required security intervention. Patricia filed for a restraining order after that incident. It was granted. On day 58, Victoria still hadn't moved. Patricia filed for formal eviction proceedings. The court date was set for 2 weeks later. Victoria moved out on day 60, 3 hours before the sheriff was scheduled to enforce the eviction. She took everything, including appliances that were supposed to stay with the unit. She left the apartment trashed, holes in the walls, carpet stained beyond repair, bathroom fixtures broken. The security deposit was $4,000. The repairs cost $11,000. Patricia sent Victoria a demand letter for the difference. Victoria's response came through her own attorney, threatening to countersue for wrongful eviction and emotional distress. It went nowhere. The eviction was legal. The documentation was thorough. The judge dismissed her counterclaim in 10 minutes. I had the apartment repaired and rented it to a young family for $2,500 a month. They were thrilled with the space and the location. They even sent me thank you cards for fixing everything so nicely. My mother sent me a text message 6 months later. Victoria's family is struggling. They're in a 1-bedroom apartment. The kids are sharing rooms. This is your fault. I didn't respond. My grandmother's estate lawyer called a year after her death. I wanted to let you know that the will has been officially settled. There were no successful challenges. The estate is entirely yours, free and clear. Thank you, I said. Your grandmother would be proud of how you've handled everything. She knew it wouldn't be easy. She prepared me for it, I said. In a lot of ways, she prepared me for it my whole life. I still live in my grandmother's house. I had my bedroom professionally restored, better than it was before the fire. I hired a property manager for the apartment building and the commercial property. I kept my teaching job because I love it, though I no longer worry about making rent or affording groceries. I haven't spoken to Victoria in 2 years. Mom calls occasionally, usually when Victoria needs something and Mom thinks I might be guilted into helping. I don't answer. Some people say I should forgive. That family is family. That grudges hurt everyone. But I didn't create this situation. I didn't burn down anyone's room. I didn't spend 28 years treating a family member like they were worthless. I just stopped accepting that treatment. And I stopped subsidizing the person who tried to burn down my home because she was angry I inherited what our grandmother chose to leave me. My grandmother left me more than money and property. She left me the example of someone who saw clearly, chose deliberately, and didn't apologize for protecting what she'd built. I'm just following her lead.